Joining me now is Dr. Kenneth Newell. He is with the Emory University School of Medicine, also the American Society of Transplantation President-elect. Thank you so much for joining me and coming to this conference.
Thank you for inviting me.
The end of the meeting marks really the beginning of your term. So what are your top 2 or 3 goals for the coming year?
I think over the past 3 or 4 years, the leadership of the ASTs really invested in rethinking our strategic mission, our vision. And after you have that kind of reassessment of what you want to do, you have to then operationalize it. And we've come up, I think, with 3 major initiatives that over the next 3 to 4 years will kind of define who we are and what we are. One is the Transplant and Immunology Research Network. Certainly funding of research has been challenging in this environment, and this group is designed to evaluate novel therapies and solicit novel research and then fund promising studies in a way funded by the society so that we have a direct link to it. And in point of fact, the American Society of Transplantation started this with $1 million from its own endowment to do. The second is the Transplant Therapeutics Initiative. This was the original brainchild of Roz Mannon, the past president of the AST, and then in partnering with the ASTs is now a joint effort to work with the FDA to try to bring drugs to our patients sooner. We realize that the current ways drugs are evaluated and approved is a challenge, and so we want to try to expedite that. The final option, or the final initiative, is the Transplant Value Initiative. We've discovered that the way we evaluate the success of transplants is maybe becoming a bit antiquated, and that we need more granular measures of the success of our transplants. So each of those, I think, will roll out over the next few years.
And obviously, as you come to one of these conferences, you're able to talk with the members and hear what are key issues to them. So what are you hearing?
I think one of the key things people are talking about right now is the crisis of funding. You know, with the doubling of the NIH budget, it attracted a great many talented people into transplantation, and particularly into basic research, because that's what's really driven the improved outcomes over the last decade or 2. Now that these people are in the field and engaged, it's really become difficult to sustain the enterprise. Many labs have closed or had to scale back. It also has impacts on training. People see their mentors struggling, and I think they want to know that when they engage in this field, not only will they succeed scientifically, but they'll have the funding to sustain a career over decades. And even beyond just the scientists, the clinicians, I've talked to a lot of people who say, I can't make it to every meeting. I can only be here for part of it. The pressures are such to perform the clinical work that we're now limiting people's ability to travel, to learn, and to engage in the societies.
Obviously, funding is always a huge issue, but if we do look at some of the biggest opportunities for the society, and we'll end on that, let me know some of those.
Well, as I thought about this, I think we need to innovate and evolve. Kind of what we've done in the past has become so good that we've become, I wouldn't say complacent, but we're making minor adjustments to an already very good outcome. When we look at our outcomes and compare them to other things, somebody recently pointed out the survival of transplant is not so dissimilar from some other diseases. And that group has got out, or those disciplines have got out the message that they're good, they're getting better, but they're nowhere near the end. We need to get better. The focus of CIOT is on organ regeneration, resuscitation, and actually engineering organs. We haven't thought about that as a real reality until recently, but now it's going to be. And in fact, the AST has now formed a new community of practice to focus on exactly that. So instead of talking about the organ shortage, we may talk about organ function.
Very nice. Dr. Newell, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.